We have a couple hours to fish this morning, and visiting Colbert County and northwest Alabama in the Shoals area, and it's the last morning I'll be here. I'm at Riverfront Park in Sheffield. I fished here a little bit yesterday and a little bit up the river. They're not running very much current this morning. I've been throwing stuff that's a little more to target smallmouth, and kind of a mix of a little bit bigger stuff potentially, but this really light current this morning. I'm gonna lighten things up and fish some little jigs. Fishing a tandem rig, which is something I often like to do with Bobby Garland Itty Mayflies. It's the new bait and the recently added in the Mayfly or in the Itty series. They're only 1.25 inches long and got two 1/48 ounce jig heads, so it's pretty small package. Looks like an easy grab for bluegill and other panfish. Thought there might be some against this wall, but haven't found any. Nope, there's one. Little tiny guy, it feels like, but a start. Yeah, it looks like a little bluegill. Another hit there. Felt like another about the same. Might be what's holding right here. We'll find out here in a minute. Got just a little bit of a nice little eddy here that I'm sure is somewhat protected unless it's really ripping. Another hit there. I'm feeling just little pecks at it, and I think it's just a little tiny bluegill. Give this a couple more casts, and then work our way up the riprap a little and see what's along it. There's something that's at least a little bit more. What do we have here? Oh, we got a crappie. That's nice. Look at the fishing over the last couple of days really illustrates some of the virtue of fishing in the Tennessee River. Walking along the bank here, that's the 7th species of fish that I've caught just in the last couple of days. I think the old Itty Mayfly, two fish this morning, 2 different species. So let's see what else I can catch. Oops. All right, appreciate it, buddy. I mentioned previously this tandem rig is something that I really like to fish with these little baits, the Itty bits, because the 2 different jig heads that I use the most with the Itty bits are a 64th ounce and a 48th ounce, and it's pretty light for casting. On the real ultralight, you can still fish them on their own, but fishing two, putting 2 of them on there gives you a little more casting weight and lets you get down in the water column a little bit more, but you still have that very small, just kind of slow moving target for the fish, and it also lets you test a couple of colors. A lot of times when I'll fish with a tandem rig, I realize I'm catching all my fish on getting all my fish on the same one, and sometimes it's a matter of position. It's because it sits a little bit higher, but a lot of times I'll switch over to another color, or to the color that's been producing on both jigs, and I'll start catching them equally. So it helps you pattern things a little faster. Got a little tiny bluegill here. Tying the tandem rig is really simple. I'll starting with the top jig head, I'll just run the line through and leave a couple feet of extra line, and then I tie a loop knot, and then attach the other one to a second loop knot. The loop knot is less important on the second one. The first one, I like having it attached with a little bit of a loop because it keeps it out away from the line and keeps it moving freely, so it doesn't get snagged on the line at all when it's when you're working it. It just helps it to move a little bit freer. And that loop knot's real simple to tie. It's just basically an overhand knot where you run it through 2 or 3 times. It's got some more little tiny bluegill. I guess I'll walk a little further and see if I can find something a little bit bigger. Yeah, something else here. Like another bluegill, I think. Yeah, it is. A little better than some of the others. Not big by any means, but not quite as tiny. And so far, they seem to be hitting this one with the chartreuse tail, the front one, a little bit better. And again, I don't know if that's because it's sitting a little bit higher and that's more in the zone that interests them, or if it's a matter of the color. But if they keep doing that, I'll probably switch out that bottom one and see if that makes a difference. Fish were all hitting the same one, so I went ahead and switched colors, and we'll find out here if they're favoring the top bait or if it's a matter of the color. They're all hitting that color, the neon nymph color, which is like a Carolina pumpkin with a chartreuse tail. And that little chartreuse tail tends to, I don't know, I feel like it's just a good little trigger. You got that subtle looking bait and you got just enough color to catch their attention. We'll see if having 2 of those makes a difference. Try one back that way before we get too far from that wall. Maybe the littlest, I'm not sure. Maybe a tie, I'm not sure. Interestingly though, that one is on the bottom one after I switched to the neon nymph color, and that's only maybe the first, maybe the second, I'm not certain, that I've caught on that bottom jig. So the color really might be the key on that. Oh, something here. Quick moving. Bluegill, I think. Yep. Another really pretty colored one. Got that real rosy belly. Another one. There are a lot of bluegill along this bank. There we go. That's got a pumpkin seed this time. That's pretty. Related species, but a different one. Those things have about as pretty a color as anything you'll catch. There we go. That's gonna be another one. Nope, another bluegill. Little bluegill. Looks like I lost the tail on my mayfly. We'll fish him a little bit longer. That one had it. There we go. What do we got here? Some bluegill on the top one. Oops. Get back in the water, buddy. That one actually kind of looked like a shell cracker. I didn't see that distinctive red, for the red ear, but the markings look more like a shell cracker than a bluegill. There's another something. Definitely got a lot of sunfish of different kinds along this bank. Got another pumpkin seed here. They're still hitting that itty bit mayfly that the tail came off. There we go. That feels like a really little one. We'll see. Yep, it's pretty little. That one might be the day's record. I'm not sure. I think it is. Go back and grow, buddy. I went ahead and switched out that one that had lost its tail. Even though I caught a couple more fish on it, it was starting to look pretty rough, and it's got I definitely think that little touch of chartreuse is a nice little attention getter. That the Carolina pumpkin part is so natural. Looks like a lot of things the fish eat and has a little subtlety, but that little flash of chartreuse on the tail, I think, helps get their attention. Well, I kind of thought that if I kept fishing that I might eventually catch a bass on the itty bits along with the bluegill. I was not expecting a 2-inch long smallmouth. He's definitely won the little fish competition so far today. We'll let him go and hopefully grow up to be a big boy. It is pretty common doing this fishing with the little micro jigs like these itty bits, where you'll be catching mostly bluegill, crappie, shellcracker, different types of panfish. That you'll get some bass that are running along the bank, and mostly they'll be at the smaller end, not quite as tiny as that one I just caught, but not necessarily. Sometimes you'll really be surprised when a 2, 3, 4 pound bass will grab onto one of these little tiny baits, because they eat little aquatic insects, than to feed on that type of thing, and it's just an easy thing to grab. So sometimes it gets a little exciting. Pumpkin seed. That one felt like a little more, but he's really not. Just something about the way he hit it. I was about to say it's a little better fish, but it's another little pumpkin seed. Oh, there you go. Feels like a little more resistance there. I'm not sure. Maybe a little better for, well, not much. A little bit, but just a solid bluegill. That one felt like a little more when I set the hook. The bite's really shut down in the last little bit, and I'm not really certain why. I don't know if I moved up the bank to an area where the riprap, and it's a little bit flatter here, and might have just kind of gotten away from the fish, although it looks fairly similar. It doesn't seem like it should have shut down to the degree that it has. But it also looks like the water level has gone down even more, and it's seeming just kind of dead calm. And the water flowing in a big river like this, especially up in the we're still kind of in the tailwater of Wilson Dam. There's a lot of very heavy influence of the current by how much water they're generating, and it's amazing how much impact that has on the bite of the way the fish bite. Even these bluegill, that's a snag, even the bluegill and crappie that are kind of sitting in an eddy along the slack water on the edge and really aren't ambush feeding, where you wouldn't think that it would affect them that much. It really does. I mean, it makes sense. The smallmouth that are kind of sitting over shoal areas and sitting looking for current to come by, that they or for food to come by, that they would be really impacted. But it seems like it affects almost everything, unless you get way up in the backwater areas where even the main channel isn't flowing. Like up in some of the coves and stuff, it doesn't make as much difference. But along the main river, no matter what you're fishing for, when there's not much water flowing, the fish tend to shut down. And maybe that's what's happened. I'm not sure. I will backtrack to where I was getting them on almost every cast to find out whether it's the location or the conditions. But it wasn't that long. I've moved back to the area where I was catching them pretty consistently, and you're really getting a lot of hits. Just up the bank just a little bit, and the fish just completely stopped hitting. I guess maybe it was the location. I wondered if it was the water conditions, but the first cast got hit again. So I guess it's something changes along this riprap bank where the habitat just isn't as good. I'm not sure what it is. It doesn't look quite as steep there, so maybe that's the difference. Oh, that one came up. That one felt pretty good. It really was. That's the, that'd be the first one I've lost in a fight today. Okay. Bluegill. Curious if that one I lost might have been a crappie. It felt a little bigger, but kind of slow moving, and with those soft mouths, sometimes these little hooks just pull right out. So, won't ever know. It feels a little better. I don't know what that is, but it feels a little better. Another crappie. Nice. Same area as I caught the other crappie, so I don't know. It's closer to that structure, and we've got that little got the little eddy and a little bit deeper water, and I cast that one straight out. So see if we can find any more of those. That's fun. I'm gonna try the same cast that produced that crappie because they don't tend to be alone. Well, the one that produced the one when I first got here, when I was down in this area, was a little bit tighter to the bank. It really wasn't the same cast or presentation, but it was in the same area. Might be more of those. Yeah, might be another one. Nope, that's bluegill, and he got off. Got overly optimistic. Did the same thing that produced the one and got hit, and it felt a little like a little more. That was another crappie. A little bluegill. Don't know if I'm gonna find any more crappie. Huh? Try to cut that second one. I was hoping I might get a little pot of them, but maybe not. We're gonna wrap things up here. Really fun couple of hours of fishing this morning at Riverfront Park in Sheffield, Alabama. I probably caught 25 fish or something like that. I wasn't counting, but it was at least that many, maybe more than that. Nothing real big, but a couple decent crappie. I also caught a little tiny smallmouth and a mix of sunfish species that caught bluegill and pumpkin seeds and one or two that I think might have been shell crackers. So a handful of different species and just steady action and a fun morning of fishing on foot.